Mehul Choksi has to be deported to India, Dominica government tells the court. Hearing adjourned till Thursday. Supreme Court slams centre on vaccination policy for 18 to 44-year-olds, says policy of paid vaccination for that age group is arbitrary and irrational, asks the centre to revisit and review the policy. In Uttar Pradesh, 200 children lost both parents and another 1,800 lost one. Government announces schemes, but are they enough? As parts of Uttar Pradesh unlock, few masks, no social distancing in Mirzapur. Huge traffic jams hours after the curbs are lifted. In Madhya Pradesh, huge crowds emerge as restrictions are eased in Shahjapur. No 12th board, so how will merit be decided? Sources say that CBSE is working on two options for assessment. The board secretary tells NDTV that they need around 2 weeks' time to work out the evaluation system. Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. The Dominican government has argued in court that Mehul Choksi, the fugitive diamond trader, has to be deported to India. The Dominican Public Prosecution Service has told the High Court that the petition filed by Choksi is not maintainable and it should not be heard. Choksi's team has argued that he was abducted and brought to Dominica. The matter has now been adjourned till Thursday. Let's go across to Neeta Sharma for more on this. Neeta, what are the details emerging from the Dominican court?
Interesting details, Rohit. Both the sides were very heavy on their side. Like the defense was contending that Mehul Choksi was abducted by Indian intelligence agency and forcibly brought to Dominica. And since he holds an Antiguan passport, he should be sent back to Antigua. But as far as India is concerned, India made 3 points. First is that he's an illegal immigrant to Dominica, so he should be sent back. Second is that he's a wanted fugitive as far as India is concerned. There are cases pending against him here in India. And thirdly, an RCN has been issued against him by the Interpol also. So India made their point, very strong points as far as India is concerned, and India wants him to be deported back. The good news for India is that even the Dominican government is of the viewpoint that he should be sent back to India. However, now the court has adjourned the matter for tomorrow. Tomorrow the court has asked, that people that Mehul Choksi should be brought there in the court premises in person so that his side or his version should be heard before the court decides on what decision it needs to take. Rohit?
Very much for joining us. And now news coming in that Choksi's legal team had argued that Choksi should have been produced before the magistrate court within 72 hours of the arrest for illegally entering the territory. Now, accepting that argument, the High Court has ordered Choksi to be produced before the magistrate court at 4 p.m. So that's the additional bit of information that's coming in. All right, to the other big story, the centre's policy of giving free vaccination to the 45-plus age group, but having a paid system for those between 18 and 44 is prima facie arbitrary and irrational. That's what the Supreme Court said on Wednesday. In fact, the court flagged several other flaws, including shortage of vaccine doses and problems faced by rural people in accessing vaccines. The court asked the centre to review its vaccination policy and place on record a roadmap of projected availability of vaccines till the 31st of December 2021. The court asked how is 35,000 crore rupees budget for vaccine procurement is being spent. Submit the comparison of prices of vaccines in India and their international prices. The court asked the centre to submit data on centre's purchase history of COVID vaccines and respond on preparedness if third wave affects children. Now, 9,346 children were either abandoned, orphaned, or lost a parent to the COVID-19 pandemic. That's what the National Commission of Protection of Child Rights told the Supreme Court. And these are just reported figures till the 29th of May. In Uttar Pradesh, 200 kids have lost both parents and a further 1,800 children have lost one parent. Both the centre and the Adityanath government have announced schemes for such children, but are they enough? Alok Pandey tries to find out.
मैंने कभी सपने में भी नहीं सोची थी और मतलब कोविड में पिछले साल लॉकडाउन हुआ था तो हम लोग बहुत खुश रहे, घर पे हमेशा बिल्कुल खुश रहते थे। इस साल वो चीज़ हुई जो मैंने कभी नहीं सोची थी।
This 14-year-old girl from Western UP's Hapur, one among the state's many COVID orphans. The faces of immense tragedy in India's most populous state. A month ago, this girl lost both her parents to COVID just a week apart. Her father ran a small shop selling Ayurvedic medicines. Her mother was a homemaker.
28 को सुबह हम लोगों को पता लगा था कि मेरे फादर की डेथ हो गई है, तो फिर किसी तरह हमने मेरी मदर को मतलब नहीं बताया था, बट किसी तरह फिर हमने वो सारी चीज़ें आगे मतलब आगे बढ़ाई सारी, क्योंकि मेरी मदर को क्योर करना था हमें। तो अब सिर्फ मेरी दादी और दादू जी हैं, उनके साथ में रहती हूँ, उनकी भी एज बहुत ज़्यादा है। जब मुझे गवर्नमेंट से बस इतनी फैसिलिटी चाहिए कि गवर्नमेंट मेरी पढ़ाई का खर्चा उठाए।
Like the 14-year-old girl, at least 200 other children have lost both their parents to COVID in UP, while a further 1,800 kids have lost at least one parent, the UP government says. 200 kilometers from Hapur, in Bareilly, these young children from a middle-class business family are yet to come to terms with the trauma of losing both their parents within hours of each other in the last week of April.
कंटिन्यू 27 को हम लोग रात के 11:30 बजे तक घूमते हैं, लेकिन मम्मी पापा को बेड अवेलेबल नहीं मिला कहीं भी। और 28 को भी फिर मम्मी पापा को दीपमाला हॉस्पिटल में मिला, लेकिन मम्मी की कार में ही मम्मी की डेथ हो गई। मम्मी को हम लोग नहीं बचा पाए। और पापा का भी 28 की रात को पापा का भी दीपमाला हॉस्पिटल में ही हो गया, रात में उसी सेम डे 11:30 पौने 12 पे पापा को भी नहीं बचा पाया।
The tragedy is even more stark in rural Uttar Pradesh, where in many cases, breadwinners in families have died. Despite promises of government help, the future does look bleak. 650 kilometers from Bareilly, in East UP's Balia, these 4 children have just lost their mother, a daily wager, to COVID. Their father died of cancer many years ago. The eldest child is just 13, the youngest is 7 years old.
आपका पढ़ाई का फीस कौन भरेगा? पढ़ने का मन है ना? क्या बनना चाहते हैं पढ़ के? पुलिस।
अगर दोनों माँ बाप नहीं हैं उनके और कोई लीगल गार्जियन नहीं मिलता है, तो हमारा यहाँ पे शेल्टर होम है और महिला बाल विकास कमेटी, चाइल्ड वेलफेयर कमेटी के समक्ष हम उनको प्रस्तुत करके और उनको शेल्टर होम में रखवाएंगे और 18 साल तक ये प्रावधान है।
450 kilometers away in Chitrakoot, this 70-year-old is worried about taking care of her grandchildren, a 9-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. After their mother, a daily wager, died of COVID. The father of the children lives separately in Madhya Pradesh.
पिता आपका गलत है।
नहीं, क्या कहते हैं लेने के लिए? क्या
नहीं आ रहे हैं, कोई पता नहीं है।
मतलब बच्चों की
ना
बच्चों की सुध नहीं ले रहे हैं क्या?
ना कोई फोन करते हैं, ना कोई आते हैं, ना कोई बातचीत।
After Prime Minister Modi announced help for India's COVID orphans, the UP government has said it will help too.
गार्जियन या केयरटेकर से अनाथ होने वाले उन बच्चों की देखभाल के लिए राज्य सरकार ऐसे बच्चों को, यानी जब तक वो बच्चे अपने पैरों पर खड़े होते हैं, ऐसे बच्चों की देखभाल के लिए 4,000 रुपए प्रति बच्चा वित्तीय सहायता उपलब्ध कराएगी। 10 साल से कम आयु के ऐसे बच्चे जिनके गार्जियन या उनका कोई अभिभावक नहीं है, ऐसे बच्चों को राज्य सरकार के द्वारा जो संचालित हैं बाल गृह, उनके संरक्षण की व्यवस्था, उनके आवास की व्यवस्था होगी।
Over time, the government perhaps needs to monitor India's COVID orphans so that government schemes can actually reach them and their trauma issues are also addressed. With Adnan, Randeep, Parvez, Karuna and camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
As cases in India show a downward trend and a gradual process of unlock begins, migrant workers are returning to their adopted cities. But their future in these cities is still doubtful and uncertain.
Anand Vihar railway station in East Delhi is buzzing once again. With the relaxation in the lockdown, migrants from UP, Bihar and West Bengal are now slowly beginning to return. Some in search of a livelihood and others hoping to return to jobs they held earlier.
कहाँ से आ रहे हैं?
बिहार से आ रहे हैं।
बिहार में कहाँ से?
सीतामढ़ी से।
सीतामढ़ी। कब गए थे आप सीतामढ़ी?
10 तारीख गए थे।
10 मई में?
हाँ जी।
तो क्या लॉकडाउन के चलते ही गए थे?
हाँ जी, काम था बंद में चला गया था।
क्या काम करते हैं आप यहाँ पर?
एक्सपोर्ट में।
अच्छा, एक्सपोर्ट में है। अच्छा, काम धंधे बंद हो गए थे तो इसलिए जो है?
हाँ, अब धीरे धीरे खुल रहा है तो उसके बाद फिर जा रहा हूँ। यहाँ थोड़ा गाड़ी का प्रॉब्लम है, बस उसकी, तब रिजर्व करना पड़ेगा या कोई ऐसी।
एक्सपोर्ट फैक्ट्री में काम करते हो?
हाँ, एक्सपोर्ट फैक्ट्री में।
अच्छा, तो क्या नौकरी पक्की है या आप जाके फिर काम ढूंढेंगे?
नहीं, पक्की नहीं है, ढूंढना पड़ेगा जाके।
Narendra Kumar left for his hometown in March this year before the shutdown. Memories of last year's lockdown still haunt daily wage workers like him, who left Delhi early this year in March, fearing that they would be left alone without a livelihood and to fend for themselves.
अब किस उम्मीद के साथ अब वापस आए हैं जो दिल्ली आ गए हैं आप?
जी, पेट के लिए आया हूँ।
पेट के लिए?
क्या करें सर?
Many daily wage workers shifted to hawking vegetables in the lockdown to eke a living, as this was the only trade allowed by the government.
ना पुलिस सब मारता था डंडा से ना।
अच्छा,
बेचने नहीं देता था ना।
अच्छा, तो कहाँ से? गुरुग्राम में आप बेचते थे? कौन से सेक्टर में?
तो सब्जी वालों का हाथ फुला दिया, गर्दन में मारा था, सब भाग गया।
And now, as COVID cases dip and norms are relaxed, migrants are slowly beginning to return to the big cities as the wheels of the economy begin to turn once again. With Sharad Sharma in Delhi, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
Now, with easing of restrictions and unlock happening in several parts of the country, guess what has returned on the roads? Chaos, massive traffic jams, huge crowds, few masks and practically no social distancing. Have we learnt any lesson from the second wave?
Chaos as India reopens after weeks of COVID restrictions. Huge crowds, few masks and no social distancing. At the famous Ma Vindhyavasini temple in East UP's Mirzapur that reopened on Monday after 51 days of COVID restrictions.
मंदिर पे आए, मास्क नहीं लगाए। मास्क छूट गया, भूल गए वहाँ पे, दुकान पे भूल गए। अभी दर्शन करने आए हैं जी। आप मास्क लगाए? हाँ, मास्क है सर, वो थोड़ा सा निकाल दिए थे।
In Azamgarh, also in East UP, a big traffic jam at this main town intersection just hours after restrictions were eased. In Madhya Pradesh's Shajapur, a stampede-like situation outside the government seed corporation warehouse where farmers gathered for soybean seeds on day one of relaxations in the corona curfew in MP. In Jammu, the biggest crowds at wine shops like this one that also opened after a month. With Anurag Dwari, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
With a near lockdown in Bengal since mid-May, COVID numbers declined in Bengal, coming down to half since a month ago. That has meant that satellite centres set up by hospitals are almost empty and hospitals are beginning to shut them. Saurabh Gupta reports.
New COVID infections in Bengal are declining from a high of around 20,000 cases in mid-May to around 9,000 now. With that, the mad rush for hospital beds is over and satellite centres set up at stadiums and hotels are being wound up. Top private hospitals, Medica and CMRI, which had set up additional facilities in a huge rush when the second wave struck, say the experience was valuable and they can be up and running in no time if a third wave hits.
People have gotten more comfortable treating mild to mild cases at home. So earlier people did not have the availability or ability to isolate at home. So that, which is why they were sending to our satellite centers. So the demand for the satellite center has also gone down there as more and more physicians are more comfortable treating patients at home.
If I were to go back 10 to 15 days, we were chock-a-block. We had a waiting list. We had 20 odd patients in the holding areas and a satellite center which was also pretty much full up. Today we are in a situation where we've got almost 40-50 beds in this hospital of ours, COVID beds, which are free. So the satellite centers are, for the last about a week or so, are vacant. We've actually given them up. No.
At Amri Hospital's annex in India's largest football stadium in Kolkata's Salt Lake, occupancy has fallen in the last week. Setting up and winding down these huge facilities is a financial challenge, but there were no second thoughts.
In the hospitals, what we see, there is a number of cases, the demand for cases, particularly in the critical care, it has come down drastically. We see that this vaccination program and this lockdown combination definitely will win over COVID situation second surge.
In fact, there is relief that the lockdown, now into its third week, is making a serious difference.
Daily positivity rate has also come down to the range of 18-19% from 33%. এবং আমরা মনে করি যে আরো 15 দিন যে বিধিনিষেধগুলো যদি আমরা মেইনটেইন করতে পারি তাহলে আরো ভালো হবে.
Several hospitals in Kolkata are shutting the satellite centers that they had set up to treat COVID patients during the surge in COVID cases in the second wave. But many are keeping the option of re-operationalizing these centers at short notice should the need arise, fearing a third wave. But they all agree on one thing: more vaccinations at a faster pace is the only way to fight COVID. In Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Welcome back. Inflation, rising fuel and food prices have hit the middle class in Mumbai. According to a latest CMIE report, 10 million Indians lost jobs during the second wave and incomes of 97% households declined since the pandemic began. Purva Chitnis brings us this report.
Sheila Jaiswal, a domestic help, earns 5,000 rupees a month. She lives in one room with a 22-year-old son who has no job. With prices of cooking oil and pulses rising, she wonders if she will have to cut down on her heart medicines.
मेरा महीने का बजट जो है वो खुद ये हो जाता है, डगमग गया है। हाँ, तो इसलिए मुझे तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता है। तेल का बोलो, अभी सब चीज़ में भाव बढ़ गया है, इसके लिए बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता है। जिधर मैं 5,000 में चलाती हूँ, मुझे 7-8 हज़ार रुपया लगता है घर चलाने में। मेरी महीने की कम से कम 1,500 की दवा रहती है।
Vada pav, the cheapest fast food item in Mumbai, sold at every corner. Vanita Salvi has been selling them in Dadar for 40 years. Before the second wave of COVID, she was selling them for 15 rupees a plate. With cooking oil and chana dal prices going up, she has had to increase prices by 5 rupees a plate.
तेलाचा वावर आता आमचे 300-400 रुपये तरी जास्त जातो पहिल्यापेक्षा. अच्छा. त्यामुळे आम्हाला आता वाढवावं लागलं.
Not just edible oil, petrol and diesel prices have touched a new high. A tempo driver until April, Ali has switched to being a security watchman at half the pay.
जो इनकम हम लोग की 1000 पर रोज की होती थी, वहाँ उस जगह पे डीजल का भाव बढ़ने की वजह से हम लोगों को अभी 200-300 रुपये का ऐसा मुनाफा होता है उसमें. तो उस गाड़ी को चला के हमको कोई मतलब नहीं है. इसके लिए हम लोग सोचे गाड़ी खड़ी करते हैं. अभी हम लोग सोच रहे कि ये लॉकडाउन इसी तरह चलते रहेगा तो हमको गाड़ी भी बेचनी पड़ेगी.
In the last 1 year, the edible oil prices have gone up by 62%. In Mumbai, petrol has crossed 100 rupees mark while diesel is at 92 rupees a litre. According to the latest CMIE report, 10 million Indians have lost jobs during the second wave and incomes of 97% households declined since the pandemic began.
Just when the economy was looking to pick up, the second wave hit the nation. This worsened the inequality and the gap between the society increased as well. And now the rising prices of essential commodities and petrol and diesel is proving out to be devastating. In Mumbai with camera person Sanjay Mandal and Rajendra Dayalkar, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
No board exams for ICSE and CBSE students, but the relief from that has only been short-lived as there is still no clarity on what next. Sources say CBSE is working on 2 options for evaluation of class 12 students. The CBSE secretary told NDTV that the board needs approximately 2 weeks to come up with the new evaluation system.
17-year-old class 12 students Aryan and Ankit are happy. They don't have to take board exams, but worried about their future and the way they will be graded in the absence of board exams.
सर 11th में मेरा तो बहुत ही बेकार रिजल्ट था, मुझे नहीं पता कि क्या होगा, मार्क्स कैसे लेंगे वो लोग.
Over lakhs of students in India are now uncertain about the next few months. How will they get admission into college? Which college? Will their results come in time? The CBSE is working on two options for marking class 12 students. The first option is to assess students on performances in class 10, 11 final exams and class 12 internal exams. And the second option is to assess them on the basis of class 10 board exam results and internal assessments in class 12. The secretary of CBSE told NDTV that they will need 2 weeks to prepare the evaluation criteria.
मैं डेज के बारे में कंफर्म आपको नहीं कर रहा हूं क्योंकि उसमें थोड़ा समय लग सकता है, तो इट मे बी टेंटेटिवली 2 वीक्स टाइम. देखिए, अगर आप टेंटेटिव टाइम लेकर के चलें तो कंट्री के जो हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, जो कॉलेजेस हैं, अगस्त में नॉर्मली उनकी प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होती है. तो फॉरेन स्कूल्स के भी जो ऑफर बच्चों के लिए आ रहे हैं वो अगस्त की बात कर रहे हैं. ये प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होने के पहले हमारी मार्कशीट बच्चों के हाथ में होगी.
Students dissatisfied with their class 12th marks and want to appear in an exam will be given a chance to improve their scores when the COVID situation improves.
But as of now, no clarity from CBSE, and students are saying they are relieved but still anxious about their markings. In New Delhi, with Rakesh, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
Olympics medalist Sushil Kumar, arrested in a murder case, was sent to judicial custody for 14 days by a Delhi court on Wednesday. The Delhi police earlier in the day had approached the court seeking extension of the wrestler's custody by 3 more days, but was refused. The two-time Olympic medalist was arrested on the 23rd of May in connection with the murder of a wrestler at the Chhatrasal Stadium in Delhi. To Jammu and Kashmir now, where terrorists have shot dead a BJP leader and municipal councillor in Tral area of South Kashmir. Let's go across to Nazir Masoodi for more on this. Nazir, what more details can you share with us?
Well, Rakesh Pandita was a councillor of municipal council Tral, and he was a BJP leader. He was putting up in Srinagar and we had a security. But today he left for Tral without informing police. This is what police are saying. And there he has been shot dead by unknown gunmen, and police said they are terrorists, and there were 3 terrorists who attacked him in a residential house. One woman has also been injured in that attack. So BJP leader being killed is also a municipal councillor from Tral, and police are saying he was provided with 2 personal security officers and had also a secured hotel accommodation in Srinagar, but councillor went to Tral without his security detail. So they are saying area has been cordoned off. There is a strong condemnation of this act by the political leaders and also by the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehul Choksi, and he is saying terrorists will never succeed in their nefarious designs, and those responsible for such heinous acts shall be brought to justice. This is what Lieutenant Governor Mehul Choksi has said, and there are strong condemnation statements by the political leaders, Mehbooba Mufti, Sajjad Lone, and other leaders as well. They are strongly condemning this incident. But this evening, one BJP leader and a councillor have been killed in Tral, and a woman has been injured in the attack.
All right, Nazir Masoodi, we leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us with those details from Srinagar. Well, that's a wrap on this bulletin from the entire team. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.